Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. We are here for our second 10th grade promotion. Yeah. So the purpose of today is that we have the esteemed pleasure of being in the presence of the one, the only Mr. Raheem, who's hands down one of the baddest science teachers, not only in Potomac High School, but in Prince George's County. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have the pleasure of speaking with him and asking him a few questions so we can learn how we can improve our toolbox with instruction with regards to science. So, Mr. Raheem, I thank you so much for spending time with us today.
And I appreciate that generous accolades. I really appreciate that, and I'm humbled by it. Yeah, exactly. So, how can I help you?
Yeah, so the first question is, one of the times I observed you, you had a QR code on the wall. And kids were pulling their phones out and scanning the QR code. And then I saw a video of other kids doing work, and then the kids started doing their work. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, well, essentially, the QR code is a way to encompass one of our objectives as educators.
Okay.
And that is for the students to take ownership of their learning and take responsibility for their learning in an environment that is the culture that really helps this to grow. This culture of I'm responsible for not only the success of my group,
right,
but my success in the class. So the QR code allows a student to essentially walk around with their, if they have their phones, which is usually their best friends,
right,
they get to utilize their best friends in the time that we deem is necessary by a sign that they have up. So if the green sign is up, they know that they can take their phones out and ascertain an answer to a question, or to go back to the evidence journal in order to get the notes from that in order to answer it, and I give them ample time to do so.
Okay. And
points for that. So the QR code is a way that they can always have the classroom on their phone. So if we go through a lab, I hit the main points of the lab. I have the kids go through it and not show their faces because that's against policy.
Right.
But you hear their voices and you see the students' hands going through the lab, and then I'll come in and give an explanation. And that is on their phones. All they have to do is go over into the resource section of the class, point their camera at the QR code, and the YouTube video shows up and explains it and gives them all the instruction that they need. They can follow up later on with a question and answer box I have in the classroom, so they can ask some questions without putting their names on it, and I can answer those questions for them in class. But it allows them to use technology to ascertain whatever we've done in class pertinent, so they can be responsible for their education without having to run me down and without having to email me later on in the week and say I missed this assignment. Everybody knows to go over to the resource corner and use the QR code in order to get the YouTube video and get further explanation.
I thank you so much for that. So I also, one of the most recent times I had a chance to observe the learning experience.
Yes, sir.
You had a child in the front of the class, pretty much leading the class, monitoring behavior. Then I saw you ask one question and you refused to give the girl the answer, and other kids in the room started building on that question. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, it's essential when students ask questions, even though they become courageous enough to ask a question.
Right.
It's really embarrassing for students in high school to ask questions. They are, right now, have been conditioned, my students have been conditioned, we're in the 3rd month of school, and they realize this is not Mr. Raheem's class. This is our class.
Right.
And a lot of my instruction is student-centered. It's not teacher-centered. I can't be on the stage. I would be exhausted in 3 or 4 months. They have to put themselves on stage, and they relish it.
Right.
As the year progresses, they love to be able to ask a question and not see me answer it. Initially, it was frustrating for them, but hence, again, the technology and the resources that we have in the classroom and the time that I'll allow them to ascertain those answers or reactions that they have, all I'm doing is just guiding them, guiding their learning, but they'll take responsibility for the learning and getting the answers to the questions and giving them ample time to respond. So when kids have an answer or give an answer, they are never wrong in my class, because all I do is expound on that area that they was wrong and get them to realize that they're getting closer and closer to finding their own solution to problems.
Well, Mr. Raheem, I just want to take a second to say I am so proud to work at Potomac High School with people like yourself. Your instructional capabilities are just off the charts.
Appreciate that.
And if there's anybody that teaches the discipline of science, whether in Prince George's County or in the state or nationally, I will humbly suggest that you shoot an email to Mr. Raheem or myself, and we will be more than happy to help build your instructional experience. Again, we want to thank you, Mr. Raheem. This is about you. This is about us valorizing and showing love to you. And why? Because we don't spend enough time talking about the greatness of our teachers. It's the teachers that run the world. I don't care what your position is. You don't get there without a teacher. So, Mr. Raheem, I just want to publicly say thank you. And you deserve all the accolades and praise. And please stay tuned for our third spotlight. But today it is about one man and one man only. The one, the only, Mr. Raheem. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.